Global warming caused by the burning of fossil fuels is melting the polar ice caps, raising the sea levels, drowning entire island nations in the South Pacific, and threatening all life on Earth, including the human race, with extinction as the frozen methane hydrate gas in the Arctic melts and bursts out into the atmosphere.
Need to build them now, but they have really problem. Clothes and hair and everything I like by myself.
Whoa, hello.
One solution, revolution.
We're in business.
Climate change.
After what happened?
We declared our independence, so let's go London line.
But at the same time, the third runway is pumping out the same amount of emissions as some countries are pumping out. So it's completely absurd. It doesn't make any sense, and it does call into question how committed the government really is to tackle this problem. On air pollution, we've already got a ticking time bomb of an issue in London with 10,000 premature deaths a year alone from air pollution, and we know that from the third runway expansion that
Of course, and Brexit, this one and the public schools. But this is the latest one on the table, and obviously we are here and we have plans, and we will announce some of those plans on the media today once we get in front of a camera. But until then, I'm using this one just as valid as anything else. Oh, there's our friend from London Live. We declared independence in front of her.
Are you going to talk to her?
Yes, yes. Hello. Hi. We're up to mischief again.
Oh, Sweets Way. Yes, I remember. How are you?
Hi.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
What happened after that? I don't even know.
Apocalypse,
It got
helicopters,
down.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was supposed to be, we couldn't save it in the end.
Oh, wow.
There was
Yes,
no
I
more
remember. I
families.
remember all of you, yes.
We're trying to create news before the news happens here as well.
Oh,
Because our
see.
friends have been here for about like 10 years.
Yeah.
There's a permanent camp in the area as well.
Right,
And we
right.
would like to reboot with this
Right.
The momentum is here again. So
Okay. I mean, do you think you guys will probably like occupy here as well when it comes to the day that it gets
something like
bulldozed
that.
down?
But it already happened 10 years ago, 10 years ago with the climate camp.
Right.
Yeah, we're trying to do the same again.
Okay. Well, if that happens, definitely give us a shout. We'll be
In a
definitely
week,
looking to cover.
we will create a show it's going to be a secret location first,
Okay.
a seed camp, and we'll create a little TV show from there.
Okay.
Because we need to grow
Well,
it.
you have my Twitter. Just tweet me
yeah,
when it happens, and I'm pretty sure the editors will be quite keen to cover something like that. So just let me
It's
know.
going to be fun because all these people have been fighting for like 70 years now, but some of them for 10 years for sure. And they're tired and they're old and they're really on it. I've never seen anything like this. In Barnet we managed to turn the grannies into warriors, but in here they already are. But we are the Bohemians. We need to spice it up a little bit and make it camera ready and entertaining. That's what you want to do.
Okay. Yeah. Tweet me. By all means, tweet me.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Say that again, I missed it.
Apparently the only two things that are going to be left in this village, Harmondsworth, is the barn building here and the church next door.
Well, that's all right, isn't it? What are you worried about?
The pub will be gone, mate.
Oh, well, that's
And the
terrible.
post office. All the things that people need, really, will be gone. The houses.
People need houses.
The post
Roof
office.
is useful when it's raining.
Yeah.
I mean,
Citizen journalism,
we weren't quite ready for this. You live in Longford?
We live in Longford.
Yes. And
Well, we're glad it's not the hub, because if it had been the hub, that would have been worse for us. It's bad enough as it is, but it would have been worse for us if it had been the hub.
What is the hub? I'm sorry.
Well, the hub is the extension of the northern runway.
Taking the runway and lengthening.
The extension of the northern runway.
Oh, I
That's
see.
the idea of the man who used to fly Concorde jets, I think,
That's
to
right,
extend
yes.
the third runway, the north runway by 3,000 metres or something like that.
Right. Okay. So the fact that they've
Got my umbrella here.
What's your name?
Purcell.
Purcell. What's your name?
Jean Purcell. Philip Purcell.
Were you here 10 years ago when the climate camp was
We
in?
certainly were, and we were campaigning against the third runway then, and went on a number of places, to stop it happening. And of course it did, because it was in a completely different area from what it's going to be now. Did you know that?
Yeah, definitely.
It was going to be in Sips, up there in that area. And at that point, Longford wouldn't have been affected. But this time, it's going to mean both Harmondsworth and Longford will all go under concrete. And so everybody will be without a home. Got to find somewhere else to go.
well,
At the moment we're working on bringing back the climate camp. We're just getting started bringing in activists from around the country and organising to try and kind of kick things off again, create a big momentum, get lots of people together and try and resist, basically.
The campaign.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
a permanent site.
There'll be a tremendous outcry because of this, I know. And last time, because there was a tremendous outcry, it was put off.
Yes.
It was deferred.
Yeah.
And now it's come up again. We knew it would, because sooner or later, there's got to be somewhere.
We'll give it another boost and an alternative to what instead of this. We will have to bring in
So
sustainable
if
business.
it's going to be Heathrow, and Heathrow is obviously the hub, isn't
Yeah,
it?
of course, it's London.
It's an airport hub,
Yeah.
and I think the country needs it. I really do. I think it's been put off for so long.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be very, very hard on the people it's going to affect.
And there needs to be another way.
And people are, they feel very, very, very upset about it.
Well, I mean, the environmental movement is concerned about the extinction of life on Earth as a result of global warming. So, I mean, that's where we're coming from with the idea of the climate camp this time, is to raise awareness of the dangers and to offer solutions.
Oh, yes.
So we're planning to have a People's Climate Conference every weekend. Scientists and journalists and doctors, professors, professional people raising awareness of the dangers of climate change. I mean, it's like so.
Industry, what to replace the industry with, how to decentralize and bring in sustainable business models and just stop
So
this
your
madness.
people are sort of conservation people?
Well, we're environmentalists and activists, and we organised the climate camp 10 years ago, or 9 years ago, but it took a year to plan and organise it. It was 2,000 people involved in that, and those same people are now planning a permanent climate camp now in the villages, and we're looking for sites. We're looking for more than one site. We want to try and inspire the local people to turn their villages into eco-villages, use renewable energy and use permaculture, and so to bring worldwide attention to these villages.
That's great.
Practical, that can go around the world and it can come back.
We'd certainly
I'm a gardener, that's my contribution, and a beekeeper.
Well, we would support that.
Bees in
We would certainly support. We were thinking of trying to get these solar panels on our roof.
Yes. Well, one of our friends is making solar
Because
panels
it's such an...
Shall I introduce you? This lady is from London Live.
From London Live TV?
Yes.
Are you residents around here?
We're in the next village,
You're in you're in Longford, and the whole of Longford's been destroyed,
Longford
isn't
is part
We can
of
go next to it as well. We have
the two villages go together.
it? So have you already kind of has your house been earmarked for demolition then?
We have participated in the campaign previously.
Well, that's why we
In
have
the
to
early
fight.
days we went up
We are
to
also artists, so we will also
Westminster
find art.
when we had a campaign up there.
It's
Yes.
theatre, but it's
So
everything's
you're
art.
already in the know as to whether your house will definitely go?
Our house will be, yes, the whole of Longford is going to be
the whole of
eliminated.
Longford, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
And a lot of homes.
And have they told you where they might relocate you at all?
Oh no. They have told us up to now that we'll get compensation.
Okay.
When
how
our
much is
houses,
that, do you know?
when they buy our house from us, that we'll get compensation. But we're not certain that will happen.
And how long have you lived at Longford?
Over 25 years. 25 years.
Over 25 years, okay.
Why don't you get your camera? And,
I was going to say, it'd be really
yeah,
good to
yeah,
come and speak to you. Would that be okay? Let me just get my camerawoman, we'll come over.
Yes, we live in the barracks. Longford, do you know?
We've been exploring a little bit, but I don't personally,
Well, the house we're in, it's one of two which were previously cottages, and they were joined together subsequently. But when, in the days of long ago, when Heathrow was plagued by highwaymen, there was a local band of people, soldiers put together to fight the highwaymen, and they garrisoned them in what is our house. So it's got quite an interesting
well, I think
connection.
I think London Live is almost ready now to do the interview, so I'll step out of the way.
For you to start, would we just say
Danny?
something along the lines of,
Danny.
you've lived in Longford.
Our hearing isn't all that good, so you have to speak up.
Okay, no, that's fine. What I was saying is that the best way to start would be to say something along the lines of, you've been here for 25 years, and then just continue from there, and how you feel about the decision today. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay, great. Do you want to just come a bit closer together?
Yes.
Hello.
She was our president last year.
Doesn't like all this publicity.
Isn't he lovely?
She was the president of our
It's like
country.
the little dog that runs around Heathrow. Did you see that?
Can you just come a bit closer for me?
Come on. We're going. They want to talk to us.
You ready? Right, if you just say your name for me and how you spell it.
I'm Jean Purcell. How you spell it?
Yeah.
Purcell.
And your first name? How do you spell
Jean. Jean.
Okay, and your name?
I'm Philip. The other half of this lady.
Okay. Okay, great. So, the decision has been made today. How do you feel about what's been announced today?
Well, I think we've been...
Mixed feelings.
We've got
really.
mixed feelings because we've been into this, for over 10 years, waiting for a decision to be made. And when the decision earlier was made for the third runway, which was through Simpson, we campaigned a lot about it then. I think we've got to the stage now where we think, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. We obviously feel extremely sorry for people who are going to lose their homes. I think it's tragic. But I think as far as we're concerned, we're getting on in age now, and probably it won't happen before we're not here.
And you've been in the village of Longford for 25 years, so I'm guessing there's a lot of memories that will be lost if your house is earmarked for demolition.
Well, there are quite a number of very old houses, and the one we live in was formerly the barracks. When Heathrow was plagued by highwaymen, there was a militia raised to fight them, and they were garrisoned in what is now our house, so it's got quite interesting background to it.
And where do you go from here? What would be the next step now that this decision has been made?
Well, we have a home in America.
Well, at 91, there's only one place for me to go.
Oh, come on.
So you never know.
No, we have a home in America, so we could go to live there if we so desired. We could also go and live in Wales, where there would be another house for us if we wanted to. So we're really some of the lucky ones. It's the people who don't have that facility that we would be sorry for.
And I'm guessing this is kind of a fight for the younger people, essentially, who, as you say, might not have as much resource to help them out in the situation.
I think there are a lot of people in this village who are older people, and I don't know where they're going to go. Some people, obviously, because it's been going on for such a long time now, have probably made alternative arrangements, like we have. I mean, we've been expecting it for so long now, it's not coming as a shock to us. But it's for the people who haven't got that alternative accommodation. And we don't even know whether we're going to be helped with this, whether we're going to have help in selling our houses and getting something for them. You see, they've been very blighted because of knowing the airport's going to happen. All the houses around here have been severely blighted. So even though you've wanted to sell, you may not have got the price for them that they would have had in another area.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks very much. And good luck with whatever happens next.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Where people can finally speak up. It's not going to be hosted by the oil companies. So everyone who's getting hit hardest by climate change, the scientists, the climate scientists, and anyone who didn't have the chance to speak up in Paris will be able to come to London and speak up in front of press, and hopefully we can make a few steps finally towards saving life on Earth, because it doesn't look good at the moment, and this is the moment we've been waiting for. The monster is attacking, and this is our license to go to defense mode.
Do you want to watch Jesse doing this thing?
Yeah, I have to go off because I run out of battery.
Oh, okay. For my English, actually
Just repeat me the same thing again and again and again and again. We believe them, and don't tax
If you can stay there, if it's not too weird, because when you're talking to the camera, so talk to me.
Yeah.
Don't look at the camera.
All right.
Hello. I'm filming you. You're filming me.
No, I shouldn't be in the camera.
Just for a sound check. Can you? It's okay. It's fine. I'll hold it. You stay where you are. No. Sorry, Jesse. Right, Jesse. Can you just tell me a little bit about why you're here today?
Okay, so today is the day that the decision of the third runway has been announced by the government. And so a group of us from Grow Heathrow decided to come down just to support the local residents, have discussions with them, and also, you know, to make a bit of noise about this decision, because we come from Grow Heathrow, the protest site up the road. We were set up 6.5 years ago, engaged with the local residents from day one, just in regards to, you know, the protest against the third runway, the expansion of Heathrow, the way this area has been blighted by the airport since it first began 70 years ago. You know, focused on, and this is also the worst problem. There's massive quantities of CO2 going into the air every single day as a result of planes flying overhead. There's a plane goes overhead on average every 90 seconds some days, and that's tons and tons of pollution, CO2, you know, petrochemicals from the burning kerosene, not to mention the amount of vehicles which drive in and out of the area every single day on the motorways. They're also releasing, you know, the fumes from diesel, fumes from unleaded petrol. So for a person living in this area, walking through the area, breathing in the air, their air is getting less clean every day, and their families are suffering as a result of that. People's families, members have literally died of lung-related diseases that have been traced back to this pollution. So there's reason to be angry.
And finally, how do you feel then about the announcement today that the runway is going ahead?
I'm a little bit disheartened, but because this is, you know, we would have obviously hoped for the best. We would have hoped that this outcome would not have come, but it's likely that it would. So all I can say really is that the struggle only begins here from now. From this point, we're going to continue fighting the third runway, we're going to continue fighting the government's decisions, and we're going to continue fighting when rich people decide that they can come into people's areas, into people's homes, destroy their homes without their consent, and pollute their land. This is a constant cycle. It's been going on for years in this area, and the people are just completely fed up with it. Everyone I've spoken to in this area, you know, who's actively against the struggle of the third runway, they suffer every single day. Their lives are a constant struggle when they're, you know, any day the government could have announced this decision, and today it's, you know, it's a real build-up of all that energy, and I'm sure many people are very, very upset. But, you know, only thing I can say is we will fight. We'll keep going.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jesse.
All right. And so this is the Great Barn, oldest barn in Europe. Destroyed by the expansion of Heathrow Airport.
I like this, yeah. That's a big barn. It's very good.
I've seen this rig before, they're well set up.
I sat on my father's shoulders and watched the very first airplane.
Sorry, just quick, just for a sound check, can you tell me your name and your occupation?
Yeah, my name is Sheila Menon, I'm an environmental campaigner. This morning for breakfast I had croissants and coffee.
Preempted my question.
I'm a filmmaker.
Oh right, okay. Thank you.
So the decision that's been taken today, is it the right decision?
Today's decision between Gatwick and Heathrow is a false illusion of choice. This decision actually sends a strong message that our government has absolutely no intention of taking our national and international commitments to tackle climate change seriously. The local impact of this decision is huge. This is going to have devastating impact on the local community here through the thousands of homes that are going to be devastated through either being demolished or through the impacts of increased noise and air pollution, which are already, air pollution is already exceeding legal limits. But this is also going to have a devastating impact around the entire planet. Hundreds of thousands of people are already dying from the impacts of climate change, and aviation is the fastest growing source of carbon emissions in the world today. So really, you know, this is about climate change as much as it is about the local impacts here.
Wouldn't those impacts be the same wherever a new runway went, whether it's here or Gatwick or anywhere else?
Exactly. The choice to this idea of choosing between Gatwick and Heathrow is a false choice. The only real choice that makes any sense is the choice of no new runways anywhere.
But the government has been making the case that a new runway is very much needed, and for business and for trade.
So the aviation industry, alongside the government, have been making a strong case that we need to have a new runway somewhere in the southeast to keep up with the rest of Europe, with the rest of the world. But what they don't tell us is that we don't actually need a new runway in this country, because we have enough capacity to meet the demands of regular holiday makers taking 1 or 2 annual holidays per year. Business flights have been declining for over a decade. The real push for aviation expansion in this country is coming from a minority of people who are high earners with second homes abroad, who are taking multiple flights to short-haul destinations that could all be reached by train. 9 out of the top 10 most popular destinations from the UK are all short-haul destinations. Currently, the UK taxpayer is subsidising this industry to the tune of £10 billion per year approximately, through VAT tax exemptions, through fuel duty exemptions, and now we're about to spend £17.5 billion on expanding our airports. Instead of spending this money this way, we could be spending that money, investing it in trains, in a sustainable transport infrastructure, in green jobs, in a way that we could be growing our economy, creating new jobs, but in a way that doesn't cost the earth.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheila. Thank you.
Kind of, technically speaking, no, but we're physically there. But it's going to be a game. It's going to be a secret location.
So what are you saying to me? Hold on a second.
So
Let me just get this.
we're...
Sorry, I'll talk to this gentleman first. That's all right, then I'll talk to you. What are you saying to me?
The climate camp is coming back. There was a climate camp in 2007 in Heathrow. It managed to fight off the first attempt to come up with this plan of building the third runway. That was through Simpson. This time they changed it, so our announcement is basically that the eco-warriors are coming together again to set up a new climate camp. This time it's going to be an international climate camp, extended with the People's Climate Conference. This is going to be months of work basically, so we're just going to set up our seed camp first.
What did you call it? Heathrow Warriors?
Eco-warriors. The Evening Standard started this brand basically, calling people eco-warriors in the road protests. Yes, all the old school eco-warriors and the new generations, and it's going to be international. So there's climate camps now in Germany, Austria. So this is going to be an international call for the movement basically to come together again and strategize how to tackle what the planet is in at the moment.
How many people?
Well, last time it was 2,000 people. This time there's going to be a turnover, but it's going to be thousands of people by the end. But we start in small, whoever we have now. In the area we're going to set up a camp, and it's going to be an undisclosed location. And next week we're going to broadcast from the seed camp. So if you follow the hashtag Climate Camp on Twitter, we're going to set up a new account. And it's going to be a kind of a TV show first, because we don't want to say
where's it going to be set up?
Well, that's the secret. I will tell you off the record where it's going to be, but it's going to be some kind of a Zapatista style little secret camp. It's going to be a show basically first, because we have to invite scientists, people from even the Heathrow representatives who are responsible for the sustainability department, anyone who needs to talk about what's happening here and also what's happening to the planet.
What's the point of this camp?
One is to strategize, to bring together all the climate change activists and the scientists and people what we're facing and how we can tackle it and how people can mobilize to fight this thing. Obviously with creativity, we're not the people who are going to attack the airport or anything. This is a gathering basically. And the People's Climate Conference as well. It's a grassroots idea. It's the same as the Paris Climate Conference, just instead of the world leaders.
What's your name?
My name is Daniel.
Daniel, your surname Daniel?
Gardonyi.
Gard what?
Gardonyi, I'm Hungarian.
Could you spell that please?
Gardonyi.
Could you spell that?
Gardonyi.
And where are you from?
I'm from Hungary, which
Have
is
you-
another sad story.
And so have you come here specially today?
I've been around for like almost 8 years, but I've been an activist here in England for 5 years now.
How big a battle is this going to be?
I think this is one of the biggest battles of London. This will determine if London falls or stays. The next one will be, in my opinion, in Chelsea as well, because they're also destroying Chelsea and that area for the Crossrail. So that's where the richest people are in London, and this has been going on for like 70 years now, the fight with Heathrow Airport.
Are you going to move on to this camp?
Yes, that most definitely is.
Tell me what you're going to do.
Well, I'm a creative person, so I used to be a comedian. This is my way of theater, basically. So we've got artists, we've got engineers, we've got movie makers, activists. So we come together and try to inspire the people how to fight the monster with creative means and how to make a difference. We are here to transform the 4 villages into something more sustainable and some kind of a spectacle that can inspire the world to do something similar.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you cannot.
He's filming me talking to you.
Yeah.
Some proper big setup with thousands of people. We have like maybe 20-30 people now to start with, and we have to reenact what's going to happen later. It's kind of a pitch to the local people and the people we want to work with, all the organizations who are building the climate camp. First, we're going to do a little TV show of our own to inspire people to build this thing with us. So some people will know where it is, but even the journalists who are coming to film on the location, we have to be blindfolded and led to the secret location. If you get mine. So we can tell you where it is exactly.
You're going to tell. He's filming you. Stop.
Sky News.
Sorry.
I'm just going to slowly help people.
I swear he's blushing when he says that. He just doesn't look comfortable, does he? He's sort of going bright red. He's
not very good.
No, he looks like he's uncomfortable. He's saying he just looks uncomfortable.
He's not very comfortable.
It will be slightly above them, up here. Harmondsworth will be one of the 3 villages partly flattened to clear a path. It's got a jumbo price tag of nearly £18 billion. It will create around 77,000 new jobs, destroy nearly 800 homes.
You can picture how busy the airport is. The aircraft queuing up behind me. That's why they say they want a new runway. But that's not it. That's exactly why the idea of getting bigger upsets
5 miles away, Leafy Teddington's not officially blighted by Heathrow noise, but for a third of the year they get this.
Last night our child was woken up just past midnight. Woken again this morning at 6 a.m. Last 2 weeks. Every day. Every minute.
Residents say it used to be okay until a couple of years ago when planes suddenly began flying lower. They plan to challenge expansion in the courts.
I know people who are having to move after 30 years of living here because they cannot cope anymore. They're going around their homes with noise-cancelling headphones. How can that be acceptable?
They're more relaxed about the plans on this tea plantation in Cornwall. They can't hear the planes, but they can feel the benefits.
Third runway, Heathrow. Cornwall. Yeah. Really smart luxury brands would be fantastic for export.
They can have the airport in Cornwall then. Fantastic.
Sky News on there.
Johnson, plenty of time to air their views.
Come on, boy.
With so many legal and political challenges ahead, some doubt plans to grow Heathrow will ever get off the ground. Now, there are a lot of statistics around this story, but I want to pick one out because I think it's been very interesting today.
On Sky,
The
they're asking
government
for
says
Sky
that
for
this
that
scheme
if
will
someone
make
can turn it
£61
on.
billion
We've got
UK
BBC
economy
here.
over 60 years. Isn't that
They're
interesting?
all arguing about what TV they programme they have on. You have to have a split screen.
7 billion, they say. Heathrow will work 211 billion. It sums up these big infrastructure projects. You never really know, no one can ever agree just how much money they're going to make, what damage they're going to do. Anyway, we've got the green light today, but it's not over yet. It's going to be another year before MPs even vote on this scheme.
Richard, thank you. Richard Westcott. So as we heard, there is opposition to a new runway from environmentalists and people who live close to the airport. Campaigners fear that the village of Harmondsworth will be demolished.
Which we will.
So of course, as we've been hearing, Heathrow, the authorities there, of course, have been hoping that their airport would be expanded. Let's get more on that from our correspondent Theo Leggett, who is there. So nothing in this for Gatwick. What reaction where you are, Theo?
Very little comfort for Gatwick, but then that was kind of expected. Heathrow always was the favourite and Gatwick was the outsider. But what people here are saying is that it isn't over. Heathrow, as you were hearing from Richard, faces a number of obstacles before the concrete can actually be laid. There are going to be legal challenges, there is opposition from environmentalists, there is high-level political opposition to a third runway at Heathrow. And executives at Gatwick think that means that Heathrow's third runway will never actually be built. And at some point in the future, there is going to be a need for a plan B. Gatwick says it can be that plan B, that it's on standby, it is ready to proceed as and when it gets asked to do so. So they're seeing this as not the end of the process at all. After all, there's a long public consultation to come. They think there's still a great deal to play for, and they're going to be ready if Heathrow isn't able to come up with the goods.
Theo,
Sorry?
thank you.
Can we transfer it to
Sky
Sky
News?
News,
Yes,
please? And then I've got Sky News.
Who's got the remote? Can you change it, please?
I think it's 132, isn't it, Sky?
Yeah. Well, James,
He's got the remote.
The history of Heathrow is the history.
Who's got the remote? BBC have got the remote, they're in charge.
We have to turn it back on the BBC though, because
132.
That's what we need. Thank you.
But at the end of the work that the Airports Commission did, it made a clear and unanimous recommendation to the government that we should accept the proposal to build a new northwest runway at Heathrow, subject to a package of measures to make expansion more acceptable to the airport's local community. Since the publication of that recommendation, my department has studied in detail both its report but also new and supplementary information that has emerged about the different options since then. The Commission's report and that subsequent information formed the basis of the discussion that took place this morning at the Cabinet Subcommittee. As a result of that discussion, Mr. Speaker, the Government has decided to accept that recommendation. We believe that the expansion of Heathrow Airport and the Northwest Runway scheme, in combination with a significant package of supporting measures on the scale recommended by the Airports Commission, offers the greatest level of benefit to passengers, business, and to help us deliver the broadest possible benefit to the whole of the United Kingdom. Mr. Speaker, it delivers the greatest economic and strategic benefits to our economy. It strengthens connectivity for passengers right across the United Kingdom. It offers a major boost to freight operators. It can be delivered within carbon and air quality limits.
Lies.
From those living nearby.
No, it isn't.
Mr. Speaker, in addition to the benefits identified by the Commission, this scheme will deliver the connectivity and hub capacity the UK needs to compete with fast-growing European and Middle Eastern hubs. The airport's location means it's more accessible to business and the rest of the United Kingdom, both by road and by rail. Access to Heathrow is more resilient, and it is better placed as the national freight hub. Not true. Ultimately, it brings the largest benefits to passengers and the wider economy of up to £61 billion over 60 years. We're not alone in this view, Mr. Speaker. UK airlines and UK businesses are also clear that Heathrow is the right place to expand.
BA don't agree with you.
Now, Mr. Genuine tribute to the promoters of the other two schemes considered by the subcommittee. As I said earlier, both presented well-developed and compelling cases for new capacity. In particular, I'd like to place on record that Gatwick, despite not being selected today, remains a key part of our national transport picture and will continue to be so in the future. Now, Mr. Speaker, I want to be very clear. Expansion will not be at any cost to local people, to passengers, or to industry.
No! What sort of bullshit is these?
Firstly, to make Heathrow a better name, we must tackle air quality and noise and meet our obligations on carbon both during and after construction. Air quality is a significant national issue, a national health issue, which this government takes immensely seriously.
No, you wouldn't be building this runway.
Which confirms the Commission's original conclusion on air quality, that a new runway at Heathrow is deliverable within air quality limits.
It's not!
And we remain committed to ensuring that this remains the case. The airport has already created industry-leading measures to mitigate air quality impacts. Furthermore, this government will only grant development consent if we remain satisfied that the new runway will not impact on the UK's compliance with its air quality obligations. The broader issue of air quality is one this government takes, Mr. Speaker, very seriously indeed. And the updated evidence base shows very clearly that the biggest challenge we face is not the expansion of an airport, but the levels of emissions built up in urban areas more generally. That is the very reason for our National Air Quality Plan. But Mr. Speaker, I should also say to the House today that as part of our ongoing work on air quality, my department, along with DEFRA and the Treasury, have embarked upon a joint project to identify further ways in which we can tackle this issue. By the time a new runway opens in the next decade, we intend to have made very substantial progress indeed in tackling these air quality challenges.
You won't be in power by then, mate.
Now, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of noise, no airport is able to be silent. Technology, though, is making aircraft quieter. The newer generation of aircraft coming into service have a noise footprint typically 50% smaller on departure than the ones they are replacing, and at least 30% smaller on arrival. But although planes are getting quieter, they still have an impact. That is why we will expect a 6.5-hour ban on scheduled flights each night to be a requirement for development consent. This will also see the airport held to clear and legally enforceable noise performance targets. So even with expansion, Mr. Speaker, fewer people will be affected by aircraft noise than today. We also recognise the importance of providing local residents with a clear, predictable timetable of respite from aircraft noise. This is something local communities value today, and we will ensure this continues once a runway is built. Now, Mr. Speaker, I recognise this decision will have a big impact on people who live close to Heathrow, which is why we have insisted on a world-class package of supporting measures. Those communities who are affected by the decision will be supported by up to £2.6 billion.
Not enough!
Compensation.
Not enough!
Insulation for homes and schools, improvements to public facilities, and other measures. For those people whose homes need to be bought to make way for the new runway, Heathrow is planning to pay 25% above the full market value of their homes and cover all costs, including stamp duty.
Not enough! And no blight date. No blight date again.
Mr. Speaker, is an offer significantly above the statutory requirement. In addition, I can announce the creation of a community compensation fund, and local authorities will benefit from our policy of local retention of business rates. The second assurance I want to give is on costs for airlines and passengers.
They're not going to give you any blight money.
A new runway will bring in new capacity to meet demand and allow greater levels of competition, lowering fares relative to no expansion, even after taking into account the cost of construction, Mr. Speaker. This is an investment in our country's future, and it will deliver major economic and strategic benefits to the UK. But it must be delivered without hitting passengers in the pocket.
The Airports Commission was clear that this was achievable, as are the Civil Aviation Authority. And it's really important to send this message, Mr. Speaker. Not expansion at any cost, but the right scheme at the right price. And I expect the industry to work together to drive down costs for the benefit of passengers. And as a regulator, the CAA will have a vital role to play in achieving this and ensuring that new capacity fosters competition. Their aim should be to deliver a plan for expansion that keeps landing charges close to current levels. I have full confidence in their ability to do so. The third assurance I want to set out is around how the expanded airport will benefit the whole of the United Kingdom. Not just, Mr. Speaker, by creating jobs across the airport's UK-wide supply chain, but by giving even more of the UK access to important international markets, by strengthening existing domestic links, and by developing new connections to regions not currently served. The airport expects to add 6 more domestic routes across the UK by 2030, bringing the total to 14. Strengthening links to existing nations and regions such as Northern Ireland, Scotland and North of England, and also developing connections to new regions like the South West. Mr. Speaker, I am determined that Heathrow Airport will meet these pledges, and the government will hold the airport to account on this. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, the government will take all necessary steps, including, where appropriate, ring-fencing a suitable proportion of new slots for domestic routes through public service obligations to ensure enhanced connectivity within the whole United Kingdom. Mr. Speaker, it's really important to say today, this is a decision in the national interest. It is not just about the southeast of England. So a new runway will strengthen the aviation sector across the whole nation. But we will need to do even more. Our airspace is out of date. Modernising it will boost the sector and it will help to further reduce noise and carbon emissions. We will soon bring forward proposals to support improvements to airspace and how to manage noise, including the ways in which affected communities are engaged. And also, Mr. Speaker, whether there is a role for a new independent aviation noise body, such as the Commission recommended. Finally, Mr. Speaker, let me turn to what happens next. There have been suggestions in the media recently that this process has been slowed down or somehow delayed. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the opposite is not the case. Members will remember the saga of the planning process behind Terminal 5, which took years to resolve. Following that, the National Policy Statement process was designed by the last Labour government through the 2008 Planning Act and improved in the 2011 Localism Act to speed up major projects, but in an open and fair manner. By setting out now why we believe there is a need for new runway capacity along with the supporting evidence, we will fulfil our legal obligations to consult with the public and allow members the opportunity to vote before it becomes national policy. That is what the law requires. What this means is Heathrow will be able to bring forward a planning application, safe in the knowledge that the high-level arguments have been settled and will not be reopened. And Mr. Speaker, today the government's reached a view on its preferred scheme, and the National Policy Statement we published in the new year will set out in more detail why we believe it is the right one for the United Kingdom. It will set out in more detail those conditions we wish to place on the development, including the supporting measures I outlined earlier. We want to make sure we've considered all the evidence and heard the voices of all those that may be affected. And of course, Mr. Speaker, those that will benefit as well.
Jeffy, come on, you can get the back of this.
Oh, really?
No ifs, no buts, no third runway, no ifs, no buts, no third runway, no ifs, no buts, no third runway, no ifs, no buts, no
residents of all the villages at the front this time, please.
Yes. Oh, I see. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Is that a clear explanation?
No third runway. No ifs. No buts. 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 No third runway. And we need it. Yeah? Theresa May, what would your father say? 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 Theresa May, what would your father say?
Journalists are welcome to come as well, but they have to be blindfolded to be taken to the secret camp. We have a live stream for now. Today I broadcasted on Occupy London, but we have to set up a new channel for that. So a whole new platform, a new climate camp to bring together climate change activists from all around the world, strategize, and also to transform these 4 villages into some kind of futuristic eco-village network to inspire people all around the world to fight climate change, global warming, with going off-grid and claiming independence. Be self-sustaining.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely. And hashtag climate camp. I think we're not going to change the name for now.
Are you from The Guardian?
No, sadly not. Cool. Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks. Yeah, next Tuesday. We need to build a stage basically until then. It's a little movie set.
Yeah.
And small first.
My carriage awaits.
Okay. See you later.
Nice talking to you.
Daniel, bye.
Daniel, okay. Thank you.
So who does he work for?
Don't give a fuck. I'm just spreading the news. I just had a chat with him. I didn't know if he was press or a local person or whatever, but then he brought out his thing and started taking notes.
So you don't know where that's going to be published?
No.
It doesn't really matter. It's going to
this
go
past few years I just...
look, there's something, sorry.
I lost so many press cards.
So no previous information.
Thanks.
Do you mind stepping just to the side a teeny bit?
Can we stay? Can everyone stay in place for 2 minutes because we're about to go.
Do you want them to chant? I don't mind, it's fine. If you want to chant.
Okay. No ifs, no buts, or should we do Theresa May?
Well, with Theresa, we're right under her, so we're right under the ladies.
Okay, so this will be so.
Theresa May. So shall we do Theresa May, which is not the same, no ifs,
Just use a better.
I
know, it's very good.
Oh, good. You're going to do something nice and get away from all this.
To be point, what would your father say?
Mummy has to keep her promise. And she does.
Banner, what would your father say? Okay, ready?
Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no third runway. Theresa May, what would your father say? No ifs, no buts, no.
You know, whatever, just and it's ready for the and where are we? Who wants to film this?
And talking.
Just walking and talking into the pub. If you're just going through the front door.
Upstairs or in the ground?
No, just inside the pub.
Okay.
I just think they want to film people walking through the door.
Okay.
I'll make it look like it's been.
Oh, sorry.
Right, let's do go way over here. Right, they've got you.
Not overhead.
Is it man all right?
We managed to pitch up the pass.
Well done, good.
Next to you with the short back.
Good, fantastic.
Jesse, can I see that? Thank you very much.
Why are we walking through the door?
Oh, well, because this is for the movies?
Okay.
Right across West London and in the Thames Valley under the new flight path.
And Neil is asking for numbers. If the runway gets built, how many people will lose their homes? Do you know the answer to that?
Well, in Harmondsworth and Longford it's going to be 783 homes, but there should be a wider projection of about 4,000 homes that will be sort of deemed uninhabitable due to noise and pollution.
Okay, Sarah is asking, how angry are people in southwest London? How angry are you?
I think there are hundreds of thousands of people today that are going to be absolutely furious with the decision that the government's taken. You know, that this is more noise pollution for people across southwest London, a lot more traffic congestion, lots more air pollution. I think there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that are very, very angry.
And actually, we've still got Rebecca from Greenpeace with us and talking about pollution, and not just noise but air pollution. There's a school just down the road that will be on the runway, isn't there?
Yeah, I think
we've already got a bit of a ticking time bomb when it comes to air pollution, with over 10,000 premature deaths in London already from air pollution, just caused by the sheer volume of traffic on the roads. That is going to be made way worse by a third runway, with all the additional transport on the roads, all the freight, all the lorries that need to go back and forth, not to mention how disturbing that is for local residents who have
a mental health impact as well. Obviously, increased noise and prolonged exposure to increased noise has obviously been proven to have quite an effect on your mental health.
Yeah, and what's that like now for you guys living with all the noise? I mean, does that have an impact? Is it stressful? Is it tiring?
It is very tiring, because obviously you suffer a lot of broken sleep. I'm not actually under the flight path where I live, but I get a lot of road traffic congestion and noise from that. So, and that's relentless. That seems to be 24/7 now. So it does impact on my sleep, on my mental capability, my ability to focus.
Okay, David's asking a question which probably isn't for you guys, but he's saying, what are the advantages of an extra runway at Heathrow? And I would say that's something the business lobby particularly have talked about, needing extra capacity. They're already at full capacity on the 2 runways. That was why they wanted it at Heathrow. But what would you guys say to that? We do need this extra capacity. They say it's good for the economy. They say it means Britain is open for business. What were the alternatives, do you think?
Well, we're not running the country, so we're not here to say where a new runway. That's probably a good thing, but we're not here to say where a new runway should go. But what we are saying is that it shouldn't be at this airport. There are airports up and down the country, many regional airports that could probably benefit from expansion in a much more considerable way than around this area.
I would also just want to add to the flaws of the business case. Actually, I don't think when we look at the statistics, it doesn't actually stack up. So only in the last 10 to 15 years, business flights have been in decline. So when we hear those statistics, I think that shows that it's quite a flawed argument.
You're not convinced by the business
I'm not convinced at all, and I think on top of that, there's massive concerns about costs to the taxpayer. At the moment, we know that there's an £18 billion budget that's been put out by Transport for London that would have to cater for all the extra road and rail needs to make this a viable project. But Heathrow is only committed to cover £1 billion, so that leaves a big gap that the taxpayer is going to have to foot.
I have to say, obviously the new government, new under Theresa May, they are convinced by the business arguments. They have made this decision. And actually James has said, isn't this just a classic case of NIMBYism? How would you respond to that? You seem angry by that.
No, I don't think it is NIMBYism. We often get accused of these things, but I don't think it's NIMBY to want to stand up to protect an area from extinction. I don't think that's NIMBY at all. I think there are very strong arguments why this area should not be completely flattened.
Okay, and what do you think?
Well, I was going to say, I think we've looked at sort of testing models and stuff that Heathrow actually can be far more efficient on the 2 existing runways that it already has. It doesn't actually need to have a third runway. But in terms of the sort of a national business level, again, I think a lot of these modules are forecast on what's going to happen when we exit the EU. Nobody really knows what's going to happen when we exit the EU. It's an uncharted territory. They're all modules that nobody really knows which way it's going to go. So they could do this, expand the runway, and we may not get any more business from it anyway.
I spoke to one of the very few local MPs actually from around here at the weekend, and he said that he's pro the expansion because of the jobs that it brings. And obviously, some of these areas people really do need work, and it will bring them jobs. What would you say to that argument?
A lot of the jobs will be low paid, 0 hours contract jobs. So, again, that's not exactly long-term careers.
So you don't think it's got the quality of the jobs?
No, it hasn't. A lot of the people that have sort of moved into the area locally that are now renting, they are all low-paid migrant workers. They're on 0 hours contracts. There's very few apprenticeship schemes that are offered by Heathrow or the airlines, and so therefore I don't think they're going to have the quality of jobs for the people that are going to be left around here.
Your own business is going to be affected.
Well, exactly. They're not concerned about the small businesses that they're actually going to affect by this airport expansion. My business is going to struggle to stay viable, and again, a lot of the other businesses that are going to be left on the boundary. They're all small independent traders. So again, we're all going to suffer. The government haven't sort of spoken to us or talked about us in any shape or form.
Yeah, they were saying in the pub actually that even though they get to keep their business, they lose all their customers.
If you've got no customers, how have you got a business?
So that brings me on to another question that's been asked about compensation. What kind of compensation do people get if their home is bulldozed, or if their home ends up being right on the edge of the runway?
Well, look, there are lots of unconfirmed figures that have been bandaged around by Heathrow Airport in the media, and lots of residents are uncertain as to what compensation they might receive. Nothing is final,
and that uncertainty is quite difficult.
Absolutely, people ultimately want to get on with their lives. When the government announced, when David Cameron famously said no ifs, no buts, no third runway 6 years ago and cancelled the project last time, many residents invest in not only their homes but in their lives in this area, and to see that threat come back again with the same, still with a Conservative government in power, I think has angered a lot of people. And as far as the compensation goes, compensation figures go, let's see what Heathrow come up with.
Okay, now we've got a question for you, Rebecca. Sophie asked, what are the greatest environmental concerns about the new runway?
I would say that the climate change angle is absolutely horrific. So we know that the third runway is going to be pumping out the same amount of emissions as some countries are pumping out. And I think
what countries? What kind of countries? I'm thinking some size and population.
Yeah, well, many of the countries in Africa and some of the countries in Southeast Asia. And I think
all in just one runway.
Just one runway, and I think that really does starkly highlight how absurd this decision really is. And I think when we take it into the context of the fact that the Global Climate Change Agreement was signed less than a year ago by this very government, committing us to try and reduce our global warming to around 1.5%, it's clear that this new runway is going to absolutely inhibit our ability to meet those targets, and it's a complete travesty.
I'm just being asked if we can see a bit more of the sign behind. So if we just have a little look, Adam is our cameraman, so he can push in on that. Okay, so we're looking at Theresa May saying in July 2016, the government I lead will be driven to the interest of the privileged few, but by yours. So why did you think that was an interesting quote to push that word?
I think lots of these signs were decided by local residents from our campaign group, and I think a lot of the residents felt that when Theresa May said those words on the steps of Downing Street, they echoed what they were hoping that she would decide on runway capacity. I mean, we've got another one just behind us that explains which highlights her previous opposition to a third runway, which she welcomed in 2010. So this is a huge U-turn, and I think lots and lots of people.
Okay, we're done.
What are you playing?